Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be wrapping up on our X-Men series. There are a couple more X-Men films that I'm not going to be covering. There's too many, and there's other films that I want to make sure we talk about within this month, but I do suggest that you guys check it out if you have been enjoying X-Men, because I really have, and I'm really grateful that I've gotten to diverge into it again and rewatch everything and really become a fan of the X-Men series again. But today we're going to be talking about the first prequel that they came out with X-Men First Class. X-Men First Class was released in 2011, and this is a whole new cast. We have a lot because they're playing their younger selves. This is a prequel. I wasn't paying attention to the series when it came out, so I will admit that I thought that they were just rebooting the series and never watched it in theaters. So you have X-Men First Class, then Days of Futures Past, and Apocalypse is basically this prequel trilogy. I've only seen this one that we're going to be talking about, X-Men First Class, but I definitely am going to check out the other two whenever I have more time, because they are fantastic. We also, so the cast goes, we have James McCoy plays Professor X, Michael Fassbender plays Magneto, Jennifer Lawrence is Mystique, and we also have Kevin Bacon in this film, and January Jones, who is best known from Mad Men, but she is Emma Frost in here, and this is the first time we're basically introduced to Emma Frost. She is more the villain, but it's a very, very, very popular cosplay that I've seen so many people cover, and I do like the design of it. So because I'm not a comic book reader as much as I am with the movies, I was excited to learn more about her character and understand the hype, and I really do appreciate Emma Frost. She's a really cool character, and I will probably be cosplaying as her in the future now.
Colonel Hendry?
Yes, ma'am.
Emma Frost, Sebastian Shaw's associate.
And where is Mr. Shaw?
We're having a party. And here's the entertainment.
This one is amazing, and I am so shocked. It took me forever to see this because I went in there. I thought they were just rebooting it and not telling it, just basically telling the same story but with a younger cast, but it's their prequel, and you get to learn how they all came to be. And you learn about Professor Xavier's story. You learn, like, I didn't even know that Mystique was the same age as Professor Xavier. That she was from the beginning, and she lived with him, and they were friends, and they helped each other out, and she was on their side.
You're not scared of me? I always believed I couldn't be the only one in the world. The only person who was different. And here you are, Charles Xavier. Raven.
This one is the best of the X-Men movies, in my opinion, and I enjoy all of them, but this one I really, really appreciated, especially how much history they put into it. It mainly takes place in 1962, and that's a criminal year where you get everyone together, and mutants aren't around back. They're not known. They're hidden back then. And this is basically them building together, and Professor Xavier, he is a telepath. He's able to know who's a mutant, who's not, and he wants to help them out. And at this point, he is graduating from college, so he's just going to become a professor.
Name's Xavier. Charles Xavier. How do you do?
Amy.
Heterochromia was in reference to your eyes, which I have to say are stunning. One green, one blue. It's a mutation. It's a very groovy mutation. I've got news for you, Amy. You are a mutant.
First you proposition a girl, and then you call her deformed. How is that seduction technique working for you?
I'll tell you in the morning.
And we also get to know Eric's backstory of Magneto, who he's the villain, but he's not really a villain, and we understand now why he's not really a villain. He's just misunderstood, and I really admire Magneto as a character, and he's so complex and has so much death and has been through so much pain and so much tragedy and was basically forced into his powers, and I really admire that. And I love characters like this, that they're not bad, they're not good, they're in between. and it's awesome to learn more about his story. This is an excellent, excellent, excellent film. Honestly, like I said, it literally is the best one. The cinematography is fantastic. The story is so wonderful, and they give you so much detail on not only the characters but the history. And I really love how much history they tied in with reality of our real life history of communism and the Nazis and different tragedies that happened within the last century, and added the idea of mutants on there, and was able to, in communism with mutants, and was able to pull our fictional imaginary, what I wish was real because we also need mutant, and pull it in with reality and make a very cohesive, fantastic storyline that is wonderful. And I know Captain America does the same thing. I know that there are a lot of superhero movies use that history lesson as a diving board to add in their concepts, and it always works fantastic. I love history, and I love when people use a part of the story that they want to tell with real life history. I also want to give a ton of credit to the writers, because there are so many languages being spoken in this film. A lot of times you can have the subtitles and you have a little bit of section where it's in Spanish or it's in German a lot of times, because especially during that time with communism and the Nazis, German was obviously used. But this film has like 6 or 7 languages at various times that people are speaking, and to know how to translate that and to do the correct subtitles in English, to still translate from the original language without losing the meaning. I give you credit because I can barely speak English myself. So I bow to the writers. They deserve the best credit. They really did a most amazing job. The cinematography is also amazing in this film, because this is the beginning and all these mutants are basically learning how to control their powers, and they're learning where they got them from and still adapting into using them in the best ways. I love how the cinematography was used, and it pulled out of focus when they were concentrating on their power, and it added so much depth to it. It's a very subtle thing, but very noticeable to like someone like myself that's watching, and very impressive. And then Hugh Jackman makes a cameo in this. I didn't understand that though, because like he's himself, but it's in the 60s, so in the timeline he wouldn't have been himself as Wolverine yet. Because that's later on in the timeline, but I'm only a casual movie fan, so I kind of missed the joke on that. I didn't understand what the joke was, but that's my only negative note, honestly, of that I didn't understand the Hugh Jackman cameo. Everything else was wonderful. You need to go see this film. This film was fantastic, and it answered so many questions that I was curious about with the X-Men, and it solidified them as a group even further and showed the struggles they went through, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful time, and I have nothing but praise. And with that, it's a wrap on our Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, but we still have some more of the month left, and I wanted to focus on some Walt Disney superhero films. So we're going to take a look tomorrow with Condor Man. So stay tuned, and as always, I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you real soon.